Hello, welcome back to Pommyinoz. I hope you're all doing really well. It's nearly the end of 2020. We're encroaching New Year's Eve, so I hope you all are having a really good last week of the year. I'm sure we're all happy to see the end of 2020. What I'm doing today, this was a requested video by a few of you. My view on if AFL teams were EPL teams. So, without any further ado, let's crack into it. If you are new around here, please like and subscribe. We do a variety of content here. We do AFL, we do a bit of soccer, we do a bit of FIFA, a bit of everything. So please drop a like, please drop a sub. It means the world to me. Okay, we'll start off with Adelaide Football Club. Now, I view these as a Newcastle United. I think the fan base is absolutely stellar. They've had moments in the last 2 decades where they've been close to the top, but just come so close yet so far. But their fans just always back them in. That's what Newcastle is through and through. They always stick fat, always have faith. No matter what is going on in the back room, they turn up in droves and support their boys, and they separate off-field with on-field. And to me, that is what Adelaide are. They remind me of Newcastle United. They really do. And it's a compliment. It really is a compliment, because to me, of all the fans I've ever met in the UK, Newcastle fans are the most fearlessly loyal, and they're genuinely a good crack as well. They're good with banter. They're not too aggressive unless you're a Sunderland fan, and it's all in good spirit. And that's how I view Adelaide. It's in good spirit. It's in good spirit, in my opinion. I know people will disagree with that and say that South Australia is a dangerous place, but in my opinion, Adelaide fans, they've been all right, and so have Port. Brisbane Lions. These remind me of Wolves, and there's a reason. I think you probably can't mirror how close they are to the title between the two, but you can mirror that they're probably not as fashionable as the other clubs in the EPL, but they're playing a brand, and they try new things, and they find a way to do things that the other clubs can't. And it's kind of the new wave, the new methodology. And I see a lot of Wolves in Brisbane. You could maybe argue that they're another side because of the success. You could maybe like an Arsenal, who had a lot of success a couple of decades ago, and they're rebuilding. But I just see a bit of Wolves. There's something about when I watch Brisbane play that they're exciting, they're expansive. I watch Brisbane play and Wolves, and it's very similar. You know, They book the trend of what their position is and their squad is, and it's really exciting, and it's something that I think that Wolves have the chance to break the top 4, as Brisbane have done. So it's my correlation. Carlton Football Club. I think we're Leeds United. Genuinely do. We're a team that will remind you about the title challenge, the title that we won back in Tales of Yore. We're still boisterous, we're still obnoxious as fan bases, but we've been absolutely dog wank. And yeah, Leeds United. I like that comparison as well. As a Yorkshireman, I like that. I think that's a fair assessment as well, because it's also nowadays we've got a new vibe. We've got a different way. We're no longer the tough Leeds. We're the exciting, play Hail Mary football. We play this real aggressive modern day football. We've gone from the 2-footed David Batty challenges and Michael Dewberry headbutting people for banter, and we play on the park. And it's kind of like Carlton. We've gone from, you know, being garbage, kick mark football, starting to get this little attacking game plan going. I see Leeds in us. I think that's probably my best one, that as well. Magpies. I'm going to give you Man United, and there's 2 reasons why. One, that everyone supports Collingwood. Everyone, like in England, everyone supports United. Doesn't matter if you're north, south, west, east. You'll find a plethora of Man United fans. They've had their moments. They're probably not as successful recently as United were, but they do hunger. They do hunger for success. They do back themselves in like United fans. I do think the biggest correlation is that they're always there or thereabouts. Even though things might not be going well on field, they find a way to make that 8. Like United seem to find an uncanny way of making the 4. And I see a lot in them. And I think now as well, Ole has kind of got it right. You can kind of see this, if you call it a rebuild. We don't really have rebuilds in EPL. But you can kind of see the correlation that he's building something new. He's going a different way. He's bringing what it means to be a United player back, and I think Collingwood are the same. So, yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Next one is Essendon. That's Burnley. And the reason that I've gone with Burnley is I think more from where I see them this year. I think they're going to play... I think they play a very scrappy brand of football, and I think Burnley do. It's probably not the most aesthetically pleasing, but it's effective. They can make games scrappy. They can take points off the top 4 sides, but then they'll get battered by a bottom 4 side. I just see a lot of Burnley in them. It's not an insult, this, by any means, because I've got a lot of good Burnley mates, and I've got a lot of Essendon mates as well. Just see a lot of Burnley in them. You know, Sean Dyche is the manager, your coach. They're not exciting players, but they are characters. They seem to get the best out of the side, and I think they're just going to be a mediocre side. And I think that's it at the moment for Essendon. I think they need to attract these big names like Burnley do, and I think at the moment I just have them in that Burnley minefield. It's not a negative. I just think it's going to be... They're a good, honest team when they play. They make it scrappy. They play to their strengths. Probably lack the talent of the other clubs. It's a fair assessment. Fremantle. I see Palace in these guys. They've got, kind of like Palace, they've got a superstar in Zaha, but they've also built a side. You look at Palace, they've built a clever side. There's not massive holes in it. They give it a go. When Palace play teams, they don't sit back and say, right, we're 12, you're first. They give it a go. It's good, honest football. They look to exploit the flanks. They back their youth in. They back their team structure in. And Fremantle are the same. And I think Crystal Palace and Fremantle, they just remind me of each other. They really do. And I think that's a fair assessment. I think if I'm a Freo fan, support Palace. Good, honest football club. Geelong. Geelong, I'm going with Spurs. And I thought long and hard why I chose Spurs, because this was just off the top of my head. But because they're kind of there, but they don't get over the line. And that's not a scourge on Geelong. And Geelong seem to do the same thing in their trade windows every year. And Spurs have done the same. Since Bale left, they just do the same. They just buy, you know, like some random South American who's mediocre. Or someone who's played in the Liga and done alright. And I just don't think... They're always there, but they're not... You never back Spurs to win the league. And it's like Geelong. They're good enough to win the league, without a doubt. But you just know they won't. And yeah, that's where I've got Geelong. Probably harsh. I don't mean it to be harsh. But I just see Spurs and Geelong as the same team. Gold Coast. I've gone with Brighton. I think that's more of their destination. Brighton's a great place to go. And Gold Coast is. But it's young. It's probably not as exciting. They sponsor everything, Brighton do as well. Like, you can buy like sponsorship on the pens they use in the office. And Gold Coast are like a very marketing side. Not successful, both of them aren't. They kind of struggle because they get a good player and then one of the top teams poaches them. I just see a lot of Brighton in them. I think it's, you know, it's a club that is kind of in a real big tourist area as well. So the fan base is really passionate, and then just random people who are on holiday visiting the Nan. Kind of like Gold Coast. But they're a team as well that you don't begrudge doing well. Like Brighton, if they beat a side 2-0, I'm happy for them. And I don't even like Brighton. There it is. GWS, it's Man City this, because no one gave a shit about Man City pre-2010. No one cared about GWS as well. And now they do, and now everyone says, oh, they bought the titles, they bought top 4. Same with Man City. And I don't think it's necessarily fair. I think GWS would love a coach like Pep Guardiola, but I don't think it's fair. But I do think this assessment is true from the perception that fan bases have. And they do remind me of City. They kind of... You don't hear from them as well. You don't hear from City fans, but everyone hates them. But like every City fan I've met is all right. So and they're like the City fans who have supported City when they were like Division 2. So GWS, Man City, it's kind of like, you know, that haven't earned it, maybe bought it type mentality. Hawthorn, I thought this was easy. I think they're Arsenal. That they had a period of total dominance. They had a coach that changed the game. And now they're kind of going through that equilibrium where can they relive the glory days? Now, I think Hawthorn and Arsenal, the answer is they will relive the glory days. I have no shadow of a doubt that Hawthorn will be back in the 8, back fighting for flags in the next 5 years. Same with Arsenal. Both clubs will be there or thereabouts. And I think it's a testament to both of them because they changed the game and they still live off that reputation. And I think Arsenal fans and Hawthorn fans, very similar, that the good core of them remember it and know what it takes and know that it's not far away. And when I watch Arsenal fan TV and I listen to Hawks fans, they're kind of right. It's not a million miles away. It needs just maybe 1 or 2 little changes and they'll be straight back there. But obviously the difference is Arsenal have no longer got their mercurial coach and Hawthorn do. And I think Clarkson and Wenger, very similar as leaders. Melbourne, I've gone with Fulham, and that's probably because it's the posh, one of the posher ends of London. Well, it's not really posh, but it has affluence. Probably not as successful as the other clubs in London. Well, they definitely aren't. But good, honest fan base, and Melbourne have got a good, honest fan base. They know what they are. Lovely ground was Craven Cottage as well. Many happy time there because it's like literally just on the side streets. And I think Melbourne, yeah, it reminds me of Fulham because it's a good, light-hearted banter with the fan base, but real passionate, know the football. Some people kind of look down on them in the UK because they're not one of the successful London clubs. But good, honest family club. And Melbourne, very the same. Like, you know, people laugh because they go to Buller and stuff, but genuinely know their footy. Good, honest club. And yeah, I think there are a lot of Fulham in them. North Melbourne, I've gone with West Bromwich Albion. Easy, this one. No one wants to be there. No one wants to be at West Brom either. You've never been to West Brom? I'm only joking. A little bit harsh. No, I think West Brom, they just remind me of, again, a bit like Melbourne, a lot of successful clubs in that Midlands. You know, you've got your Leicesters, you've got your Birminghams, you've got your Villas. And I just think they're probably not the most glamorous one. When you think of Midlands clubs, you instantly think Leicester, you instantly think Birmingham. Even though they're not in the EPL, you think Villa. And West Brom are kind of forgotten about, and I think North are the same. It's kind of like, we've got all these teams in Victoria, and they're not one of the most popular clubs. But fan base is very loyal, very passionate. The club play a good, honest brand, and they build some togetherness, which is what North look like they're trying to do this year, trying to build a bit of togetherness. And I think West Brom and North, I think it's a fair assessment. Port Adelaide, now this isn't based on success at all, but it's based on fans. I think Port Adelaide and West Ham, real passionate, real blind passion. Like I love Port Adelaide's passion from their fans. It needs more of it, I think. Not the violent aspect. I know they get into fights and stuff. That doesn't bother me particularly. But they have real defenders of their club, defenders of their spirit. The prison bars. You speak to a Port fan and they're adamant prison bars are theirs. And it's like West Ham fans, and I respect that. Passion above all. Defend your club. Defend your club above all. And I like that. And I think they are very West Hammy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I look at West Ham and I hope they do well because of their fans. I know that it means so much to the fans. And I look at Port and I want them to do well. I want them to do well. And I think Port and West Ham, you know, there's a real good heritage, real good history, iconic names played for both clubs. Big up. Big up West Ham and Port. Richmond, I thought this was easy, this. And this is probably going to upset people because everyone supports Liverpool in Australia now. Out of nowhere because they won the league. Liverpool. Richmond. Big club. Barren spell. Can't stop winning it. Liverpool, I reckon they'll win 3 of the next 4 as well. Dominant. They've found it. They've set the back. They've gone ahead of the others. It's top of the tree and it's tough to catch. And I think Richmond and Liverpool, same team. Same team. They are the Liverpool of this. Damien Hardwick, like Klopp, found something, keeps improving it year on year. The rest of the pack chase. Saints, no surprise I've gone Saints, Southampton. They remind me of Southampton though. You know, they play good, honest brand of football. They give it a go. They're adaptive. They've got a coach that's willing to try new things and fight and punch above his weight. Doesn't give the respect to the other clubs. And I think Saints and Southampton, They've got the similar thing. Fan base has had a lot of years of barren spells, good times out far away. You can see Southampton winning something in the next 3 or 4 years. Saints will definitely be there or thereabouts in the next 3 or 4 years, way before. And I think Southampton and Saints, real fair assessment. Sydney, gone with Aston Villa. Tough one, this. They just remind me of Villa because they probably, outside of 1 or 2 players, they probably like superstars, but they play a good honest brand. They play a good togetherness. They work hard together. And I see that from Sydney as well. I think Sydney Swans, they play like that way as well. You look at Villa, they've got Grealish. You look at Sydney, they've got Parker and Papley, but they play hard together. Eagles, Chelsea. I think they are a Chelsea. I think they're a glamour club. We've got Fremantle's Palace, which is more of the working class area. Eagles, they're more like, you know, the winners, aren't they, of that area. And I see a lot of Chelsea in them. I see as well that they're building something, that they're going a direction and they're not too far off, and they just need that added ingredients, that bit of je ne sais quoi. They do remind me of Chelsea the way they play. They remind me of Chelsea when I watch them, and they've got that Chelsea about them. It's hard to describe. There is something about Chelsea Football Club that even before they were rich, you just knew you were playing Chelsea. You could see it in the club, the fans, and Eagles have got that. Real strong fan base, real knowledgeable fan base, love their footy, and yeah, definitely Chelsea for me. Got that little posh edge. The Doggies, Leicester City. You know, not one of the glamour names, but they give it a crack. And for me, they are Leicester. They don't respect anyone. They can beat anyone on their day. Leicester do the same. They play to their strengths. Leicester play to their strengths. They won one out of the blue a couple of years ago. Leicester won one out of blue a couple of years ago. And they've maintained it. And when people have thought it was a flash in the pan, they've told them that, no, it's not a flash in the pan. We are here. And I see that in Leicester. I think Leicester and the Doggies are very similar sides. And sides that you don't begrudge winning as well. You don't begrudge winning. You never want a rival side to win or an opposition side to win, but you don't begrudge it. That's as far as I go when I support another club. I don't begrudge the win. You know what I mean? I'm not upset about it. They're my EPL to Premier League translations. If you are looking for an EPL team, follow it. Honestly, it's good fun. But if you are a fan of one of these AFL clubs, which EPL team do you support? Who do you think you remind you of? Please let us know in the comments. Let's have a discussion. It's always great to hear from you guys and girls. Until next time, Pom out.